Hello and welcome to my channel Happy Hours. In my last video, I discussed about the challenges faced by e-governance and the role and function of civil services. In this video, I'm going to discuss about the Lokpal, its history, and about the provisions and the limitations of Lokpal. The next very important topic, and that is the CBI, its history, functions, about the appointment of and the tenure of director of CBI and the challenges faced by CBI. In the last, I am going to discuss some of the measures to enhance the effectiveness of the CBI. So what are we waiting for? Let's jump to the topic Lokpal. Lokpal. First, it was introduced in Sweden in the year 1809 and it was known as Ombudsman. The term is used in banking in India as banking ombudsman. Here also they are checking the malpractices. It is an anti-corruption agencies. In India, the institution of Lokpal was first talked about by the former law minister Ashok Kumar Singh in the early 1960s. Law was passed in the year 2013 and implemented in the year 2019. There were many organizations who favored it, like the first Administrative Reformation Commission recommended the establishment of Lokpal. On its recommendation, the bill to establish a Lokpal was introduced and passed in the year 1966 in the Lok Sabha. But the bill lapsed because of dissolving of the Lok Sabha. There were totally 8 attempts made to implement the Lokpal. In the year 2002, the National Commission for Review of Working of the Constitution recommended the establishment of Lokpal. Again in the year 2005, the second Administrative Reforms Commission also recommended the establishment of the Lokpal. In the year 2011, April, Anna Hazare movement started, which was also known as India Against Corruption movement, and they demanded creation of an independent anti-corruption body, the Lokpal. In India, the Lokpal was established in the year 2019. Now we have to understand the provisions of the law. The Lokpal consists of a chairperson and a maximum of 8 persons. The chairperson should either be former Chief Justice of India, a former judge of Supreme Court, or an eminent person who fulfills the eligibility criteria as specified. Out of maximum 8 members, half of them will be judicial members. Judicial members should either be a former judge of the Supreme Court of, or former Chief Justice of the High Court. A minimum of 50% of members should be members from scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and other backward castes, minorities, and women. The chairperson and the member are to be appointed by the President on the recommendation of selection committee composed of Prime Minister as the chairperson, Speaker of the Lok Sabha, Leader of Opposition in Lok Sabha, and the Chief Justice of India, or a judge nominated by him and one eminent jurist. So there are 5 members committee. The Lokpal bill was passed in the year 2013, but it was not implemented till the year 2019, and the reason was there were no leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha. So Supreme Court intervened and said that if the leader of opposition is not present, then the leader of the largest opposition party will be member of the Lok Sabha. So in the year 2019 it was implemented. The jurisdiction of Lokpal is over the PM and the COM in the union government. Members of parliament and the officials serving in the union government belonging to the Group A, B, C, and D services. The office of the Prime Minister is exempted on the matters relating to internal relations, external and internal security, public order, atomic energy, and space. Means the law and order. Lokpal cannot inquire on these grounds. The Lokpal also has the power of superintendent and direction over the CPI. If it has referred the, the case to CBI, the investigating officer in such case cannot be transferred without the approval of Lokpal. Now the Lokpal is having two wings. First is the prosecution and the second wing is the inquiry. If suppose there is a complaint filed about a person, then the inquiry wing is going to start inquire. And if they found evidence against that person, or we can say the person is found guilty, then the report will be provided to the prosecution bill. Now prosecution wing. Now the prosecution wing, they are going to give the judicial decision on the basis of report. Lokpal was authorized to guide CBI, and if the CBI is inquiring, the member of the team cannot be transferred without the approval of Lokpal. Now these were the provisions of the law. Means we can say these were the part of the law of the Lokpal. Now what are the limitations of the Lokpal? First is the lack of independence. As we all know, the appointment is done by the recommendation of the Prime Minister, Speaker of the Lok Sabha, etc., and the eminent jurist. We don't know what were the criteria, and anyone can be selected as the eminent jurist. And if the Prime Minister is the head and the Speaker of the Lok Sabha is there, it means these two are of the same party. So nothing is described about anything. These eminent jurist, so there will be no restriction. So ruling party is having the power because three members are in the one team, like the Prime Minister, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, and even the eminent jurist. So no autonomy or independence is there. We can say that the Act allows the government to have a significant influence over the appointment and the functioning of the Lokpal, which may compromise its autonomy or its independence. Next is anonymous complaints are not allowed. The Act does not permit anonymous complaints, which may deter potential whistleblowers from coming forward. As we have heard about the RTI activists, they are many a times harmed. The same thing will happen in this case also. Next is the limitation of 7 years. That is, the law sets a 7-year limitation period to file a complaint, which may not be sufficient in some cases. Suppose there is a specific complaint and there is a case of corruption which was happened in the year 2015. Now is the year 2024. The limitation is over. And since it is before 7 years, any complaints regarding this is not going to be entertained. Even though we can found the evidence also, Lokpal is not going to entertain this complaint because the deadline is over. Next is the lack of transparency. The Act provides for a non-transparent process for dealing with complaints against the Prime Minister. If suppose the Prime Minister is alleged for corruption, if the inquiry is done with him, it will be held in the closed room. So the question asked and the answers provided by the Prime Minister is not going to be forecasted, or we can say they are not going to be disclosed to the public. And if the Lokpal will find the Prime Minister is not substantive, then the records are also not going to be disclosed to the public. So there is no transparency, or we can say the lack of transparency. And the last is the removal of Lokpal. The chairman or members shall be removed from office by an order of the President on the grounds of misbehavior. The ground is misbehavior. After the Supreme Court, on a reference being made to it by the President on a petition signed by at least 100 members of the Parliament. On an inquiry held reports that the chairperson or members is to be removed on such ground. First is the ground, and that is the misbehavior, and the second is how many members are required, and it means 100 members. It means those who are in the power, they are having the power to remove the Lokpal also. Next and very important concept is CBI, or we can say the next topic is CBI. CBI. It is said by the Supreme Court. What is a CBI? It is a caged parrot. Cause no autonomy, and the parrot cause they say what the political party is asked to say. Now we have to know the history, or we can say the background of the CBI. The origin of CBI can be traced back to 1941, when the government set up the special police establishment in order to investigate cases of corruption during the Second World War. Accordingly, Delhi's Special Police Establishment Act was enacted in the year 1946, and the CBI was established in the year 1963 by the resolution of the Ministry of Home Affairs on the recommendation of the Santhanam Committee. Ministry of Personnel. The CBI currently functions under the Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions. It is neither a constitutional body nor a statutory body. Now we have to understand the functions of the CBI. First function is to investigate cases of corruption, bribery and misconduct of central government employees. Secondly, to investigate the cases relating to the violation of fiscal and economic laws. Thirdly, to investigate serious crimes like national and international impact committed by organized crime groups. Fourth, to coordinate the activities of anti-corruption agencies and the various state police forces. Fifth is to take up any case of public importance for investigation at the request of state government. Principle followed is the consent. The consent given by the state. The CBI do not get authority to automatically investigate cases. It is on the basis of permission from the state. State is permitting, then only the CBI can investigate. There are two types of consent provided by the states to the CBI. First is the general and the second one is the case specific. Now let us understand what are these two terms. First is the general consent. Now the CBI can investigate any case in the state. Whenever the state is giving the general consent to CBI, means any cases can be transferred automatically to the CBI. Whereas then the case specific consent is given by the state to CBI, then only for a specific case investigation can be done by the CBI. Now we have to understand one important case, which was the Sharda scam, and it was investigated by CBI. Sharda group were running Ponzi scheme. They promised higher interest in compared to banks. By this they collected about 20 to 25,000 crores. And after collecting all the money, they closed all the offices and ran away from India. Now the general public, they got tensed. So CBI started inquiry, and they got to know that many of the TMC members were involved in it. And there was a time when it reached to inquire the Kolkata Police Commissioner. To inquire the Kolkata Police Commissioner, they went to West Bengal. And when they reached the resident, they found that the police commissioner was absent, or we can say he was not there. So the CBI officials, they said they are going to wait in the residence of the Kolkata Police Commissioner. They went inside and were locked in the house for the several hours. There were media outside, and because of the intervene of the media, they were able to come out. Till now, the case is under investigation. So we can say that CBI is having conviction rate of 70%. It is very efficient institution, and problem is it is caged parrot. It is having some control by the central, or we can say by the state also. There is one exemption of consent rule, and that is when the Supreme Court or the High Court order the CBI to investigate, as we have seen in the case of West Bengal. To maintain the crime statistics and the provide criminal information, that is the last function of the CBI. They are going to maintain the crime statistics, and they are going to provide the criminal information also. Next topic is about the appointment of the directors of the CBI. The Lokpal and the Lokayukt Act 2013 amended the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act 1946, and as per this amendment, the central government shall appoint the director of CBI on the recommendation of three-member committee consisting of first the Prime Minister, secondly the leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha, and the third the Chief Justice of India or the judge nominated by the Chief Justice of India. In the year 2014, the Delhi Special Police Establishment Amendment Act added that when there is no recognized leader of the opposition party in the Lok Sabha, then the leader of the single largest opposition party would be a member of the committee. Next is the tenure of the director of the CBI. The director has a fixed tenure of 2 years. The Delhi Special Police Establishment Amendment Act 2021 provides for the extension of the tenure of director of CBI from 2 years up to 5 years. Means, however, the extension can be given up to 1 year at a time. No such extension is possible beyond the total period of 5 years. Such an extension may be granted in public interest on the recommendation of the committee related to the initial appointment and for the reasons to be recorded in writing. Means, for appointment or increasing the tenure of the director, the reason is going to be recorded in writing. Next, the challenges faced by the CBI. First is the political interference. The CBI has been influenced by the political establishment and the lack true independence in its investigation. As I have mentioned before, the Supreme Court calls the CBI a caged parrot, speaking it in its master's voice. Next is the misuse by the central government. Successive governments have used CBI to hound the political opponents and the state government. Next is the accountability issues. Questions have been raised about the CBI's accountability mechanism, with concerns about the lack of proper oversight and the transparency in its functioning. Next is the shortage of manpower and resources. The agency suffers from the problem of shortage of personnel and the financial resources hampering its investigation capabilities. Next is the delayed investigation. The agency suffers from the problem of shortage of personnel and financial resources hampering its investigation capabilities, like in the Sushant Singh Rajput case. CBI has been criticized for slow pace of its investigation, sometimes affecting the process of justice. The reasons may be lack of resources or the political interference. There is one important case, and that is the Harshad Mehta case, and the second is the ROC case also. There the investigation was very much delayed, and Harshad Mehta, he was died in the jail itself. Next, we are having the measures to enhance the effectiveness of the CBI. The 24th report of Parliamentary Standing Committee on the Personal Public Grievances, Law and Justice has made the following recommendation. First, statutory or the legal backing. A new law should be enacted to replace the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act, which clearly lays down the role, jurisdiction, and legal powers of the CBI. Secondly, increasing the resources, that is, staff strength and the financial resources. Third, increasing autonomy of CBI by creating an autonomous institution not under the jurisdiction of the Ministry of Personnel on the lines of CAG and the Lokpal. And the last is the increasing the jurisdiction of CBI to investigate issues under the union, state and the concurrent list. By this, I am concluding my video, and if you find my video useful, kindly like, share and subscribe. Thank you.